Ready, boys?
Oi, 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 oi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford. Joining me this week is Sam and JP. Again, another positive podcast, I would say. Obviously, the Scottish Cup victory against Alloa. I think overall feeling was just a game as one, I think. Obviously going to bigger games this week and next week, but overall, I think JP, first half, I would say, was decent, comfortable. Second half, I think the press and the media have made out that Celtic were struggling and whatever else. I think it was just going through emotions and just missed a few chances. But I think we'll obviously get into more, JP. But what was your overall thoughts and how was your weekend, mate?
Aye, great, mate. Weekend was relatively quiet. Spent a bit of time with the family and that. Good evening, lads. Good evening, Sam. Aye, it was positive, mate. It's always good when Celtic win. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, in my opinion. You'll get murmurs that, we should have won with about 13 goals or 8 goals or 7 goals. Or doesn't matter. What matters is the victory. And you're through to the next round. So as long as your name's on the heart for the next round, that's all I care about. Like I said, a couple of the boys were laughing when I mentioned it about I'll take 1-0. Doesn't matter what the result needed to be. Because right now we're at the nitty-gritty side of the season. So for me, it's all about results. It's not just about how we play. Obviously, how we play is a bonus if we can play the football we want to play. But aye, I think it was good to see a couple of players getting minutes under their legs. Boys that have been out injured. It was nice to see, like Giacomakis coming back, and his finish was unbelievable. I mean, it was a great cross with scales and one-touch finish for a big fella. It was lovely. And then obviously Abada. I've spoke very highly of the wee man there the last numerous podcasts we've done, and I think again he showed what a pivotal player he's going to be for us. I think he's going to be a big player for us as well. I don't think he's not there to make up the numbers, and he's certainly not a development player, even though he's only 20. I think he's got it in his locker that he can score goals, and he's going to be a big part of the team. And obviously Ange has faith in him as well, because he chose him on Saturday over Forrest, who's obviously back to fitness as well. So it was a lot of positives. Good to see Jota back as well. Good to see him coming on, and again he's just a bag of tricks. I mean, he came on and looked like he'd never been away. Some of his crosses and the ball through to Maeda was unbelievable. I actually think Maeda was with a header. I actually think he was a bit surprised. The header was a sort of hesitated slightly when he approached it. I think if he'd made another great connection, mate, I think he's got time to maybe put it back across the goalie rather than hitting it at the goalie's near post. But good save. And obviously, as you said, Ryan, a load of chances we missed. Again, I'd be more worried, I think, if we weren't creating any chances. So, aye, all positive, mate. As I say, don't really want to take much for the game either, because it's hard to I'm not going to criticise anybody, that it was a bad performance. Obviously, you're going to get, when you go to these wee teams, they're always going to try and make it stuffy for you, get in their faces. We'll obviously touch on that as well. Obviously, there was a few meaty challenges there that left a couple of our boys in a wee bit of pain. So, again, that's down to us to take care of that on the field. I think when some of our players are fouled, there needs to be more about us, I think, in the moment. Mm-hmm. And we need to be up in arms about it more. And, I'm not necessarily being in the referees' faces, but we certainly need to be making ourselves heard that it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for players to fly into challenges just to deliberately try and injure players. And there needs to be more done in terms of protection for the guys that are having the challenges put on against them, because they're deliberately, it's blatantly right in front of us. They're deliberately setting out to take people out of the game, and I think we're very lucky in terms of Ange saying about Abada's injury and Gucci's injury. because I think that would be the last thing we need, especially now that our captain's going to be missing for. But as I say, we'll touch on that in a wee while.
And yourself, Sam, what was your overriding thoughts after the match?
It was, as JP said, it was obviously the main. I'll start again. The main objective was to obviously get ourselves in the hat for the next round. And as I said as well, teams like obviously your Alloas, etc., it will make it stuffy. I think for the most part we did play well. We obviously missed however many chances it was. I lost count, to be honest. But overall I'm happy. But I just think you want the main objective is obviously to win a game of football, but you want to try and, again, it's a bonus as JP said. But me personally, I would want it the vast majority to win the game, but also that wee bit of flair and technical ability to play well. That's just me. Obviously, everybody's different. But again, for me personally, the main thing is we won the game, and obviously, as everybody knows now, we've obviously got Raith Rovers at home for the next round. I obviously said it to you, but I think one thing, again, it's Alloa again, but one thing we did well is we played through a stubborn defence, which we've struggled with all year.
Good point,
I thought
mate,
we done well to play through it and obviously find ways, passes, etc. So overall, I think I would say there's more in terms of play, like result and playing ability. There's more positives, but obviously, as JP alluded to, the injuries, that's obviously a major negative. Again, as I said, we'll touch on it, but having the captain out for X amount of weeks or 2 months or however long it is, because I heard in Angie's interview he suffered a mild concussion. So obviously, as we all know, concussions get took now very seriously in football. So he could be out for, again, the time being. Again, would it be 6 to 8 weeks is what's been quoted. So, but overall, I'm happy that we get through and we're in the hat, I suppose. So, as you said earlier at the start, it's on to more important games.
I think I'm agreeing with you, lads. I think I thought the first half we were very, very sharp, dominant. I know I had the odd sniff, but even some of the chances that Alloa had, they were all right, but you never felt they were going to score. It took an after-cuff chance for them to go and score when it was against them on a play. Any other, see if that's at Celtic Park, that's 7 or 8 nothing. The amount of chances you had, it was ridiculous. Again, and we won the game, like you says, when it comes to breaking stubborn defences. People all say, oh, it was a lesser division team, you should be doing that, but it doesn't matter if it's Albion Rovers or an amateur team or Alloa or Rangers. If you're playing 11 men behind the ball, it's very hard to break these teams down. It doesn't matter if it's grass, astro, ash, it's very hard. But again, on a shitty pitch, I hate the parks. I don't think football should, at this level, should be playing on them. I understand why these wee teams have them, because it generates money and whatever else. But for me, I think I probably say if JP, the only criticism would be the missing chances. I think maybe you've got to, at this level, you've got to maybe score them. Some of the chances Maeda had, he's got to score them, but he's only just in the door. You don't want to criticise it because the game's won. Even at 2-1, the game is won. Alloa weren't going to score again. It was comfortable. And
I think the one Rogic slid through to him, Ryan. I thought he rushed it. He seen the goalie coming out and he just thought he kind of curl it by him. Instead he could have actually rolled it onto his left and just slotted it into the corner away from him. Do you know what I mean? I just thought he rushed that one. Like see what he done, I don't really know. I think he's maybe not expecting the full connection because he's been surprised at the ball that Jota's played. It was an absolutely unbelievable pick out. But I think the chance that Rogic dances through a couple of them and then he slides it through to him, I think he rushes that. So again, I think that's a learning curve. He'll learn for that as well. Do you know what I mean?
But obviously, we mentioned the goal. Absolutely world-class ball for skills. For me, it's a world-class finish. I know people say it's against Alloa, but it was a brilliant goal, man. It was a top-class finish. It was the ball for skills was just whipped in, and his movement to get to that, and he made that look simple, the finish. It was a hard finish. I know he could have scored again. They could have scored another 2 or 3 to Marcus, but again, overall, I think he done okay. He was interchanging play, he linked up, he was chasing his movement. So, as you says, mate, guys, at game time, I thought for me, Scales, I'd rather have Scales playing than Greg Taylor. I think it offers more going forward. Defensively, maybe no. But going forward, I think in certain games, I probably say the only good thing is, JP, you've got two guys who can maybe do two different jobs for you. Taylor, maybe against Rangers, might be a better job because he might defend better. But then maybe against your Hibs or Hearts at Tynecastle, you're trying to go for a game.
Yeah.
Skills might be the guy, like you say, for Big Jackie Marcus, because going to, obviously, the game for the weekend there, the closest we're getting whipped in again. There's no point in having Jackie Marcus up front, JP, if we're going to get balls in the box. There's just no point, because he might take the ball at his feet and he might lay off, but at the end of the day, he's a machine. He's a machine like that size. He's bulked up. You can see he's bulked up over the last few weeks as well. He's worked hard. He's a machine when it comes to his movement, his height. So you've got to utilise that and get the ball in the box, because it's different for Kyogo. He want the ball through the channels or the ball at his feet so he can link up and run into the space. But Jackie Marcus, the ball has really got to go to him. He will move, but he's not got that explosive power as your Maiders or Kyogo's got. So I think maybe that's the only thing I would say in the future we need to utilise a bit more.
I agree, mate. I also think the big fella is actually quite comfortable. He showed another side to his game the other night. When he got his goal, another wee... I think he'd be about two of them. And then if he looks up and he just looks across, he's got my head there for a cap in, and it's an open goal. He's already positioned himself in the centre, and he's come out a wee bit to kind of try and shut down Jackie Marcus. And the big fella he's trying to just kind of curl it with him. But I understand why, Ryan, because he's trying to kind of now hit the ground running after his injury, and it's a hard one because, as I say, I feel sorry for him. He's not really get going, and you can see he's trying hard. Because he sees the rest of them. As I say, they see guys that signed about the time he signed, mate, and they've come into the team and they've all made a difference. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to come in and make a difference to the squad. He wants to use a different option. And I liked his interview after the game when he turns in and he says that, my season starts now. So let's see what he brings. And by the way, he's going to have ample opportunity to do that, because it looks as if he's going to be called upon in the coming weeks.
Aye, mate, I agree. Obviously, Sam, I know we spoke about him the last kind of podcast and stuff about him, how me personally, I think he will do a good job. These I would say, because the chance of him playing in Hearts, United, Rangers is probably going to be that, because I don't think Kyogo's going to be fit for a while. I think Ange's maybe try to sugarcoat it a bit, because I think hamstrings are a dodgy one. You don't want to come back in too early. Again, Ayeti, when he's going to be back. So I think this is Jackie Marcus. This is his chance to put himself ahead of Kyogo. Let's be fair, because if he plays 3 games and he scores goals, then you've got a big question: do you drop him? Because you can't have a guy who's scoring goals in one form. So I think, Sam, it's a big chance for Jackie Marcus, and like he says, he sees he starts now. I see his interview and it just looks like he's just want to go and get fit and play. You can see his hunger to just get goals. And I think that, like JP says, Sam, I think the next 3 games, I'm not saying it's going to prove him as a player, but it's going to give him a big chance to get in the team.
No, I totally agree, because, as you say, with Kyogo injured, Maeda now in international duty for the next 3 games at least. He's now got his chance to go and cement his place. And as you say, if he goes and scores at least a goal, obviously in the next, in the next couple of games, then how do you drop him? Obviously Kyogo's been the main man, or one of the main men this season anyway, but you can't then drop a guy that's playing, to some extent, playing for fun, scoring goals, enjoying his fit, but after obviously a torrid time, as JP said, that he couldn't get going. It's not fair on him. And as I say, his season starts now. And as you say, you can see he's determined to get in the team and obviously stay in the team or play in any system that obviously Ange wants to play, whether it be 2 up top or Kyogo or Maeda, whatever it is. So, and as we've said in previous pods, he's got a pivotal part to play. So I'm happy the big man got his goal. Obviously keep going on that, because as the two you said earlier, it was a world-class finish. It's not an easy goal to score by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm more than happy for the big man to, obviously I know he has to play now, but if he keeps scoring goals, there's none that would deter me for having the big man in the team.
I agree, mate. I've seen enough of him to say that he will do a job. I know there's a lot of people that like the Celtic fans, they'll see a guy in one game and that's a judgment. Again, that's their opinion. That's football's all about opinions. We all judge guys quicker than others. So I've took a step back for judging guys quick because I think Ralston's the biggest guy. You can't criticise or judge a guy too much or too often because look what can happen under a new manager and whatever else. So, but I know you touched on JP Abada. Abada. JP touched on Abada. Fuck's sake.
Wish I had his pace, man. I'm telling you, I'm still playing it there.
That goal, again, that was a fantastic finish. Again, I think as every 80 minutes or 90 minutes, he's contributing to a goal or something like that. His stats are there to be seen. I thought he played really well again during the week. I still think I'm agreeing with you, JP. I think he's a big player for us now. I think when he first came in, he was thrown into the deep end just because we didn't have a lot of wingers. Forrest wasn't fit, Jota wasn't in yet, and he's just come in. But I still think he's a bit raw. But I still think he's got raw talent and raw potential that's going to get better. So for me, JP, I think he's going to be a mainstay unless he gets injured because you can't drop him because he starts and the way he's been playing. Again, I know it's only Alloa, but he played well, so he's got to play in this game.
For me, he's undraftable now, mate. Because his stats per game are unbelievable. His analysis and everything shines like a beacon. And I can understand why he went and paid the $3 and a bit million for him. Possibly it could have been a scout that's seen him, or maybe Word of Beaton. It's maybe says here. And I think what was good the other night was seeing a big fella back because I think we're going to need him now if McGregor's going to be injured. Because again, for me in the central midfield, bro, Beaton's pivotal in what we want to do. And I do think Ange likes him. I think he knows obviously the service he's gave the club. Maybe that's, swaying Ange's kind of loyalness towards him. I don't know, but he's put in a lot of hard years at the club, and he deserves everything. He was at the team for a long time, and a lot of players could have just went, look, I'm going away. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not getting a game, and throw the dummy out the pram. But the big fella stayed there, kept training, kept working hard. Was always getting picked for his international team. So, and he deserves everything. And by the way, it's night and day difference to see him playing at centre back than it is to see him playing in a centre midfield. Therefore, in Leverkusen, that night he was unbelievable.
He was very good, mate.
He just reminded me of Sergio Busquets for Barcelona. He just controlled the game from start to when he went half in the game. I thought when he went half in the game, we lost a lot of the impetus in midfield. He was a big miss when he went off the park. He's very tidy. Same as Gucci. I thought he was unbelievable on Saturday. I thought he was really tidy. He looks very technical. He's always wanting the ball, which is a good thing. He's never hiding. He's no fear to challenge as well. He put his body into a couple of things on Saturday as well. And obviously, we've seen the tackle that he took as well. But how that's if we'd VAR, that's a red card all day long, in my opinion. But that referee really needs to take a strong look at himself in terms of that's 3 games he's officiated now. Motherwell at Celtic Park when Kieran Tierney, the boy puts his studs right into his thigh. It ended up a big hole in Tierney's leg. Then we're up at Tannadice this season.
David Tumble, aye.
Butcher. Unbelievable. And then obviously again, and it was bad enough that Joe Hart had to come away out and start having a chat with that boy Nehan. He more or less say to him, look, you deliberately tried to hurt him there. You could see, especially on the TV, I don't know if people at the game and stuff seen any of that, but you could see on the TV Hart obviously wasn't happy, and he was telling him he wasn't happy. He didn't care for his speed of challenge and the tempo that he hit a good shot. And obviously it must have done damage because we saw a big ice pack on his foot. And one thing I know about the Japanese players, mate, they are no play actors. They don't go off the park dead easily. They are really master classes at their craft. he worked probably harder than most. So it would have took a lot for him to come off. I think he tried to stand up and get a go again, and you seen him kind of looking over as if, no, I'm done. It was quite good in terms of, we're only a week or two ago, we're talking about how big our squad is, but if they keep dropping the way they're dropping, we're going to be back to the bare bones shortly.
Aye, mate. Obviously that tackle. How it's not even a case to fight for a yellow card. Again, it was a bad tackle for a guy, and I think the guy obviously knows a bad tackle, but it's down to the referee to, let's be fair, to keep the guys safe on the park. That's the referee's job, to referee the game and make sure the players aren't getting leg breaks and whatever else with bad tackles. Aye, we all know. I know myself, I played football. I've got injured, no through tackles, just through incidents, which is different. But tackles like that, Sam, for me, see, and you've no VAR, right? But surely a referee, surely you don't need VAR to go and see that again. Surely there can be an introduction to football where if a referee thinks that he's going to see that again, can somebody just not show my replay? Why do you need to go and get VAR and all this? Why can't you just go to the side of the park and say, look, by the way, 2 seconds, look at this. You paused that up. That's a sending off. Why do we need to have this big VAR set? Why can't you just not have a wee tele outside the park? Right, ref, what do you think of that? Oh shit, sorry, you're off. I don't know if that can be implemented, because surely it's better than waiting 4 minutes for somebody else to look at it at another bit in the ground or something. Do you know what I mean?
Is that not just VAR, Sam?
No, aye, no.
I'm just like that.
Aye, no, but see, no, I mean, the referee himself, no talking to anybody else.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. I know
what I mean? Instead of having, aye, no, it is VAR, but in a sense of no having to wait 3-4 minutes for somebody else to talk to you and wait there. And why? Do you know what? I don't know if I made that right. Go and look at yourself.
It's down to one of his colleagues. It's down to one of his colleagues that have had another view of it. Either the linesman or the fourth official that's obviously took another angle to view it, and for me it's down to them as a team and a collective to then do it.
Because for me, Sam, that could have done that guy's career. I don't know whether the referees see the thing for me is, Sam, these 3 decisions that Don Roberts done the other 2, he's right in front of the game. It's not like he's either a corner flag or he's away from the park. He's about 10 yards or something in front of it, and he's missed it. He's clearly missed it. I'm not saying it's cheating. I'm just saying it's negligence. It's not doing the right thing. You've seen that. You go, well, how I generally can't explain, Sam, how that's not a red card. I'm not wanting guys sent off. I'm not wanting guys banned. But no wonder we're getting injuries every fucking game. But I agree with JP, Sam, as well. And you can touch on it as well with your next point. We're on nice and technical. I said it in a group chat today. We're all nice players. We're all technical nice players. We're all parling with each other. But see, when that happens, why is it every fucking player on the fucking referee's face? Oh, you're fucking into the Alloa players. We're too nice. Oh, I think the only guy I seen there, Joe Hart done it. I think it was at the second half. I think James McCarthy done it to somebody when he came on. It's the only time I seen it the full game.
McCarthy lettered somebody or not, didn't he? What was the boy's name? He just
that's what it was, because something happened.
That was the boy that hit Gucci, wasn't it?
Something happened,
McGregor.
And McCarthy seen it. McCarthy went like that. I'm going to do him. And he's done him in a fairly way to go for the ball, but he's a fan. You knew what he's doing. But that's what we don't do, as I say, Sam. We don't do the streetwise stuff. We don't do the wee cheeky elbows or the wee sneaky wrist. It gets players wound up. We don't do that, and I think we're too nice, in my opinion. McGregor started to get a bit more nasty, but I still think he's too nice when it comes to going to referees. And I don't know what you think of that, Sam, but I don't know when it's going to get. I don't think it's our culture anymore. I think we're all just nice players, technically quick tempo players, and I just don't know where we're going to get that nasty chicanes if we need to buy players with that, Sam. But for me, I think we've got to be more as a team when it comes to that.
I'm just going to say I agree, because I think it was ages ago we've obviously discussed the same issue which you started to bring up. We don't, I think, as you say, McGregor started to, where I think I still agree with you. It is too nice, but I think he has got better at going up to the ref and saying, "Look, you missed that, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that." And we're missing that just big bully in the middle of the park. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've had a bully in the middle of the park like that since Victor Wanyama. I don't think we have. It's always been Scott Brown and McGregor too. Scott Brown, obviously, you know what you get with Scott Brown. You do. Everybody knows that. And obviously, as we said about McGregor, but we've not had that just big raw, big blast up really. Like you look at it and you go, like you pure take a step back.
If Big Peter not get that to his game, sir, I think
no. I would say he's got a bit of it. Me personally, but I agree with Sam. I don't think he's not got he's like a Wanyama type. I would say because obviously his red cards tell you he's got a bit of it. But I don't think he's got the. I agree with Sam. Wanyama could be the guy that again we could have re-signed, but obviously it didn't happen for financial reasons. But sorry, mate, on you go. Continue.
I was just going to say that we just need that type of player, and I've said it in a previous pod. I think, as far as I can recall, the only time we put in a player or a referee's face was when Chris Kane leathered Carter Vickers, and obviously that whole entanglement obviously took place. But I think we need to be in the ref's face more, but just not to the point where it ends up screwing us.
Yeah.
Because as we've said, we're too nice, we're too technical, and we'll just. And I get, obviously, Ange just came out and said, we'll let our results in our way of playing. And I totally get that and I totally respect that. But at the same time, the referees and obviously the manager and the staff, etc., they need to do what's right for the players that they're putting at the park at the end of the day. If they're it's good in the McGregor one, because that was not intentional. That was just an accidental going up for the ball, and that was just an accident. But the Gucci one, and I didn't see that bad one in live play, but I've now watched it back. Obviously, the Gucci one more the badder, but ones like that, you need to protect your players at the end of the day. They're the ones that you're obviously putting out again to play, doing your job and obviously your tactics, etc. So what are you going to do without them? And they've got, not to go too deep, but they've got families. So as we said, the Gucci one could have been a leg breaker. That could have ended his career.
I know.
He's probably got a family sitting. Well, I'm assuming he's brought it to Japan, but. To me, we need to be more ruthless and nasty, and again start sort of speaking up for ourselves and make that point heard.
See the thing, JP, that you obviously I want to point out. There's been more hoo-ha and media outlets talking about Ryan Kent getting sent off for Scott Brown than there is with that Gucci tackle.
Scott Brown's because offended FC have decided to make it a big.
Scott Brown's a nasty guy. Scott Brown's cheating. Scott Brown's this. Scott Brown's that.
Apparently, he lacks class.
He lacks class and this and that. No, Scott Brown done an experienced job. Scott Brown had cigars out the full game against supposedly the best players in Scotland. Scott Brown was superb.
Flip flops on 5 years ago, mate.
Scott Brown was superb. Scott Brown done the streetwise dirty stuff that we don't do and that he's done for years with us. And like Kevin Thompson's mate says, people hate him because he's a very good player and he does the job to win a game of football, and that's it. But yeah, we get a bad tackle at that, and nobody says boo. Oh, it's just Celtic, it's just Gucci, everything's it's the referee dealt with it. No, I'm sorry, but it's got to get, like I've said in the group chat, JP, I don't want to talk about referees because I want us to win a game of football, but see when it's getting like this, the club need to come out and say, listen, what is this all about? You need to explain yourself, because everybody's seen that, not just us watching the game. Everybody at the ground seen it. It was a disgusting tackle.
No, it was, mate. You're right. And like I say, he's offended FC across the bar. They just don't like anything that happens against them. But they don't mind dishing it out to other teams. And listen, we're talking about a team here that's, they tried to shaft the fans by they never voted for an early winter break. So they were happy to play next to nothing in their stadiums, and we also know why that is as well, but that's another story. But as I say, maybe that's down to the coaches, maybe that's down to the team, maybe that's down to us as a club, maybe they're not making them want to make a lot of noise about it. But when it starts to affect and it starts bringing casualties to your first 11 and your squad and everything else, then for me that's enough. That's plenty to go on and say, right, enough's enough. And whether that be you call a meeting with the referee board or I don't know what you would need to do. Just not to complain, just to have a chat and say, look, it's becoming a wee bit of a cause for concern. It's happening this game, that game, this game. Point out some games it's happened in. And it's similar incidents where there should have been a red card and there's not have been a yellow. Who knows, mate? I don't know. We've not heard anything, but who knows? The compliance officer might take that up with he might be offered a 2-3 game ban. We don't know. But like I say, it probably won't. But as I say, I would rather again, mate. You then start creating another sideshow. Already got one in terms of will Jota sign, will he no sign, will Carter Vickers sign, will he no sign. So we don't really want any more noise coming out the club. So I would maybe let it go to now. But yeah, if it does continue, I would certainly start addressing it. And the only way to address that, mate, is like I say, is you call a meeting and you start asking questions as to what's going on, because it's happening several times. But the same thing's going to happen again on Wednesday night. You're littered with people like us, Haring, Suter, big boy, what's the other big boy at the back? Big boy used to play with Livy. Halkett. They're all well renowned. I mean, Haring can't even run alongside somebody without grabbing a hold of somebody's jersey or arm, or sometimes the shorts, depending on how far back he is. Actually, he was running with Tom Nogic at Celtic Park in the 1-0 game, and at one point he was fucking jet skiing half his arse. He was holding on to his shorts and Big Rogic was dragging him. So, as I say, but they're littered, so we're kind of expecting this to be physical. Well, especially for them anyway, because we, as you said yourself, we don't play that type of game. That'll be interesting to see what happens. I do think we're a different team for the team that lost at Celtic, at Tynecastle at the beginning of the season. So that'll be an interesting showdown when it happens.
Aye, obviously back to the Alloa game, back to some positive chat, I would say. You mentioned Jota, JP.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it.
No, mate, listen, I probably don't talk about referees, mate. Some people don't like talking about referees, but I generally feel that if I can mention it on this and it gets somewhere, then I'll do it, because we as a club and the fans shout about it, but as you say, mate, I agree the board maybe don't want to do it because we're doing okay now and know what to put a sideshow. I can understand that. But at the same time, as Sam says, you've got to protect your players. But on top of protecting players, we need to protect Jota as much as we can, mate, because as you say, JP, when he came on, he was on for what, 25 minutes or something like that, roughly. Every time he gets the ball, you're just like, go and do something. You just expect him to do something. He's got that in him, and it's like, he's like, we've not met maybe a guy like that, I don't know, maybe since McGeady, maybe. I don't know if he can maybe come back to anybody else.
He's like McGeady with a fan, isn't
he? And that gorgeous head he's got, I love it, man. The headband's amazing, isn't it? But I genuinely believe, JP, that the guy...
He's certainly got a better bandit than me anyway.
Mate, look at mine, I know.
I lost my hair when I was 16. What a third game that was.
I'm not 30 yet, mate, and I've lost my hairline, mate. I'm gushed. But Jota, mate, for me, JP, the guy... I know there's rumours about this and that, and we've heard a few things, but for me, mate, if that guy signs, it's an absolute coup. But I'm like you, I don't want to talk about too much I'm signing, because if he doesn't sign, then just enjoy the last 5-6 months of him. Because just enjoy him.
I think the most important part is he's fit and he's back playing again.
Let's be fair, when he came on, you seen him, the difference he made, man. It's just, he's sharp,
his first touch was an nutmeg.
Honestly, mate, and that's him. Go maybe roughly about 40 minutes, say 35 minutes, and I think he'll play. Obviously, we'll talk about the game on Wednesday tomorrow, but I think he will play the next few games. And again, he will be a big player coming up.
Aye, definitely, mate. It was great seeing him back. As I say, he was all full of energy. He was full of running. He looked fit. He looked sharp. He looked as if he could just keep going. I expected him to look a bit leggy But no, he didn't. And you're noticing that as well, where these boys are coming back from injury now. Maybe years past, when they came on, there was got to a wee bit and then they were breathing at their backsides. A lot of, as I say, sports science has took over now, so there's a lot to do with how you train, how you recover. There's a lot of onus put on it now with certain players and individuals, but as far as I'm led to believe, he's a very hard worker. He trains really well, and he's a good trainer, and he does extra, and he goes and practices these things, and so that wasn't surprising at all. He was up to a level of fitness. It's just good to have him back now. It's good to have him back amongst the team, and for me, he gave it, even the other night, last Monday night against Hibs when he came on. The whole place, he just gave the whole place a lift. The whole place just went mental when he came on. And then obviously, but I kind of felt sorry last Monday night for Mikey Johnson.
Aye, he didn't get the best
of that. The whole place was going mental when he brought Jota on, and then he brought Mikey Johnson on, and everybody sat back down. It was like, it's a shame, you know what I mean? Then there's obviously rumours of day saying Aberdeen are looking to get him on loan. I think that might be a good move for the boy as well. But I think Hinge needs to hang on and out because, as I said, mate, in the wide areas and all, we're wanting Forrest gets injured, Jota gets injured, we're 1 or 2 injuries away for another crisis again. So obviously you've got the boy O'Reilly. He must have his international clearance because he's training with the team now. And if McGregor's got about for a period of time, then I reckon that boy might come into the midfield. Because as far as I'm led to believe, he's not here as a development player. He's here as a ready-made talent, ready to get into the side. So obviously well under the radar coming for MK Dons. But again, mate, that doesn't mean to say he's not good enough to play for Celtic.
Aye, I think he's very well sought after down south, and other teams are wanting him. And I think he'll only not back Fulham a new contract with Fulham because he wasn't going to be playing. He says, "No, I want to go MK Dons. I want to play." He's took a risk and it's paid off, Sam. And like we've said with JP there, Jota is, like you says, it's Sam. It's a lift to easy. You've spoken basically nearly every podcast of how good he is and how no matter what if he signs or no, we just need to enjoy. Me personally, we just need to, as fans, try not talk about him signing as much as let the guy do his football because you know yourself, Sam and JP, that the mere talk is in the media. Players say they don't read the papers. It's bullshit. Players read papers. Players read. I put them the ratings. Players read a lot of stuff. But I think Sam, it's just pitiful that the guy stays fit while he's here.
Aye, no, definitely because as JP said, obviously, if he gets injured, and obviously God forbid if Forrest gets injured, then we are looking at certainly a slight no crisis, but injury issues obviously in that wide area. I would love sorry, excuse me, don't be wrong. I would love him to stay, obviously we all would, but I am, as much as I obviously love him and whatever, but I'm just going to be like, do you know what, if he signs class. If he doesn't, enjoy him for the last 5 or 6 months of obviously the loan deal, because as we've said in previous podcasts, he's a vital part to Celtic Day. And I've said before, he's similar to Tom Rogic in the sense that you give him the ball and you expect something to happen. He's got that potential to go around players and nutmeg them and whatever. So there's no enough words I could say to describe what a talent he is, because no gonna lie, when he signed, I thought, really? I know he obviously that sort of with Herdor, he was a class player. He's highly thought of at Benfica, but I thought, but his game obviously hit the ground running. So also just on a wee side note, Joe Hart's obviously a fantastic photographer, taking photos of Jota and the wee lassie and all. So that's 2 jobs we've got him doing. But Jota is just, as I said, there's too many words you could use to describe him. Like as you and JP said earlier, that ball for Maeda, I don't even think I've never seen that ball even attempted in that sort of situation before. So, but I'm happy he's back. He's looking, as we said, he's looking sharp. He's looking fit, and just going forward, let's hope it stays that way.
Sam, I think the key part of that is, mate, sorry, Ryan.
No.
I think the key part of that there is, see when Jota's receiving that pass back for Scales, straight away what he was doing with that ball.
Mm-hmm.
It was the speed of thought. He knew he knew that ball was getting zipped through the corner and over into the box. Even he takes a touch and then he just. That's what I was meaning a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned his vision, his thought process, his plan too ahead of what he's going to do. There's a couple on the team there. Hatate certainly looks like that as well. Kyogo's obviously like that as well. Maeda's like that as well with his movement. We've now got that in abundance now throughout the squad. Carter Vickers is like that as well when he looks up to play a ball. He knows right away whether he's going to play it safe or he's going to try and play a threaded pass into the midfield. We're now starting to see that, and I think that's all coming down. And Sam as well, I think it's more like he's giving them the freedom, but he's also gave them the tools and training by setting up in a certain style, setting up in a certain system that allows, when we go inverted, it allows, like, going with what I've heard, lads. I don't know if any of you have paid attention or even looked it up. The boy Ortega have brought in for Benfica to do the analysis for the opposition. Supposed to be unbelievable, like scary good.
Mm-hmm.
So not only will they know what they're doing under Ange, but they'll also be mega prepared for whatever information this guy gives to Ange, and then Ange can then set up accordingly. So I think that's key as well.
Just one last point I was going to make there. Sorry, just what JP said. I said to somebody as well after the game, that pass through Jota does not get spoken about enough because it's in Scotland. If that's in any other league in Europe, that gets spoken about. Unbelievable. Because it's in Scotland, it doesn't get spoken about enough.
It was the same way because it's here against Alloa as well. It's not a world-class pass. It was a world-class pass.
It was the same with Jota's pass to Kyogo for the goal against Ferencvaros, with the pass halfway across the park.
Yep.
Doesn't get spoken about because it's in Scotland.
But they won the award, didn't they? They got that. Did they not get the best goal award, the Europa group stages?
I think so, aye.
Sorry, that point annoyed me, but I'll let you continue.
No, you're right, mate. You're spot on. But I think, Sam, as well, the fact you've got Jota fit now, when it looks at Maeda can play out wide, I think he's similar to Kyogo. I think you're going to get the best of him through the middle. But if you've got Giacomakis, who might be by the looks at, he's going to be looking good. Kyogo's looking good. Maeda's looking good. You're going to have basically three guys going for one position. So one of these guys, Kyogo or Maeda, might need to go out wide. But you've got the options now: Maeda, Forrest if he's fit, Johnson. I know people, myself, don't think he's up to it, but the new he's still an option. So you've got Forrest, Maeda, Abada, Jota. You've got options now. And like JP says, you're just hoping that we don't drop more flies, especially before the game on Wednesday, and then obviously on to Dundee Rangers. But I think going forward, Sam, even if we don't sign anybody else this window, especially wide, as much as I think maybe one more quality winger would enhance the squad, but I don't think it's a necessity, because I think we've got enough, personally, wingers-wise, Sam, today to the end of the season and hopefully go win the league.
Aye, no, it's no, but as you say, a winger wouldn't be the worst shout, sorry. Because we say that one of the other pods is, for the first time in probably over a year, we've got depth, because you're looking at least two for every position.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you're looking at least 3 or 4 for wingers, at least. But no, I wouldn't say a winger's a necessity, to be honest. I think there's other aspects of the team that would need strengthening. And then with the possibility of outgoings as well. Obviously, that's a story we'll get into in another day, but I generally don't think there's any issue with wingers at the minute, to be honest.
And obviously, JP, we're talking about depth, what Sam says there. I know we might have Gucci might be injured for Hearts, we don't know. McGregor definitely is injured for maybe at least up to Rangers game. We don't know the full in-depth of it, but I think with the looks like he's out for a few weeks anyway. I know people might say McCarthy's not good enough or whatever, but you've still got Beaton to come in, you've got McCarthy, and then you've got Hatate. So again, McGregor's a massive miss, he's your captain, but you've still got somebody to come in. At least you've got an option. You've not got anybody, shit, what we got to do? I mean, at least you've got something now to maybe combat it. You can maybe put Hatate in, or I know Rogic might be away as well for the Ezra away Rangers game. So, and these 2 games, I think he's away for as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
he's away now. That was his last game. I think that's why him and
so,
Maeda
but the
played
only thing
on Saturday.
is, you've got a guy O'Reilly to come in, but it seems that he might be just a swap to what I'm hearing. He could be basically he's a number 10. So I think JP we're definitely, even with injuries and key captain missing going forward, I think we're still got the army there to come in and at least do a job instead of have to sit and go, who are we going to bring in? Is it a young player?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have, mate. But that's not to write the young players off as well. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've got to the point now with Ange, whatever team he picks, whoever he plays, I just trust him 100% because he's not giving me any reason not to. And if he picks a team, then he must reckon they're good enough and up to it to go out and perform to the level we expect. Again, they haven't let us down in that aspect. Maybe at the beginning of the season when the team was a bit jaded, a bit, still trying to get things together. But I would say the Aberdeen game away from home was a big pivotal point in the season. If we won there, we've looked like a totally different side, in my opinion.
I agree, mate.
Even the game at Ibrox, I thought we played quite well. I thought we actually dominated last spells of that game. We get done with, obviously, a set piece. Seems to be... I don't want to say eradicated because we'll get... I say that and then we're going to go out on Wednesday night. We're going to concede 2 corners. We can see that. But that seems to be between now. We're not conceding as many as we did last season in terms of set pieces. But obviously the problem is still there. I think what's different now as well is the team are growing together. So I think what's different is the team's starting to know, they all know their roles and they all know what part they've got to play in that role and what part they've got to play as that team. And they're bonding together as well. So it's not just... They're not just going into training and then they're going home and then they're going to play games, then they're going home. The COVID, that's a bit relaxed now, a bit more relaxed, so they can start to... And I do get, with our videos on Instagram and other things, they do a bit of socialising together. We've seen photos of Hart and Juranovic out for dinner. We've seen Starfelt and Carter Vickers out for dinner. So things like that must happen behind the scenes that we're not privy to all the time.
Yeah.
So the more time you spend with somebody, especially at football, the more time you learn about that person, the better your relationship will grow on the pitch. And you can start to see that now. What's key for me with this Celtic team is everybody wants the ball. There's nobody hiding. They're all showing for the ball. Even if the other team are pressing us or we're under a cosh, they still want the ball. They're trying to play out. Okay, they're making a wee odd error here and there, but they're trying. Which key for me? They're trying. I'd be more worried if we started getting into hiding and we started dying out of games and we weren't creating all the chances we're creating. But that's not happening. We're dominating games and it's only... I think we've said it for the last couple of weeks as well, lads. It's only a matter of time before we scud somebody. And I can see it coming. Now, whether that be Wednesday night, Saturday, next Wednesday.
Aye. I agree with you, mate.
I can see it coming sooner rather than later.
I think I've same with you, mate. I think we've said on the pod for weeks that the way we're playing, the amount of chances we're missing, we're due to give somebody a right good toasting. And I don't think there's any better place to do it than Wednesday night, but obviously we'll go into that tomorrow. But obviously, Sam, Raith Rovers, as you mentioned, in the next round, it's not a formality because Raith Rovers, I think the last time they played it last season, or the start, was it last season they played Celtic at the start of this season? And they actually look decent. They play some nice football. So I think it's not going to be a foregone conclusion that we're going to win the game. But again, you should, Celtic Park, basically a team that's doing the league below you, you should be able to take care of the Rovers. But again, we've seen stranger things happen. But I think, Sam, it should be, you just similar professional job, get a game done.
Aye, definitely. I don't know what league they're in, but as you say, I know they're obviously leagues below us. But
the Championship, below.
All right, okay. I don't pay attention to the leagues apart from yours, to be honest. But it's a foregone conclusion, but it's no. I get what you're saying though, because to me, to some aspect, no game's easy in football now, none. And obviously we played them at the start of the season and we beat them 3-0. We obviously got a bad Turnbull scoring. That to me, I know he's obviously just a quick point. He'd been good, but I think that's the game where Jota started to show what he was about properly. And obviously we go into how he played, but it's funny, man. As I said, no game's easy in World Football, but you should be beaten. Like, we've got enough players today that even without the likes of McGregor and whoever else might be out, God hope obviously nobody is out, but it's I don't expect anything but a Celtic win. And the other advantage, obviously, you mentioned it, is the fact that it's at home. If it was away, you'd maybe go, no, again, it would win, but it's always easy because obviously kind of away, the fans and whatever. But it's we're playing too well for most parts of the game. I think there's parts where we're not played as well. But I don't see anything apart from us winning that game, to be honest.
I'm agreeing with you, mate, and I think JP, I think the only reason you don't think you're going to even get beaten around like that is you're at home, the way you're playing, and as obviously a division below. I know we've seen a lot of shocks before, but you've got to get into the game thinking it should be a comfortable victory. But I know bigger things have happened in football, but I think you've just got to look forward, get that again, professional, get the game done, and obviously look forward to the later rounds.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, mate, it should be comfortable. But as we know, we had him on the other day. It's his old club, John Baird. They are a very well organised side. I know we took 3 off them in the League Cup this season, but that's a cup final for us, mob. So I reckon that a game that we'll look to take to them, we should have enough to beat them. I'm not looking for any. Well, not that I'm looking for any, but I'm certainly not expecting any slip-ups. I think now, lads, which moving forward, I think you're going to have to see Celtic being really, really poor on the day for anything but a victory. Because for a team to beat us, they're going to have to be right at it. Every man, for the goalkeeper right up to the strikers. And you need your team to beat somebody like Celtic. You need your players playing at 8, 9 and 10s. You've not got that. Chance. Absolutely no chance. Because the Celtic players, in my opinion, they don't drop below an 8. That's the difference when you play at the top level. Your big players all come to the fore. When it's a business end of the season, your big players all start to come to the fore. That's when it comes to the nitty-gritty part of the season. Players can smell. That's why you build a squad, and that's why you bring the quality in. Because like I said before, lads, you don't win a team. You don't win a league trophy with a team. You win it with quality, and you need quality right throughout your team. And that's something now we've got in abundance and with numbers as well.
Definitely, mate. Obviously, as you say, we spoke to John, and John McGunn's getting in playing really well. Basically, similar style to Celtic under Rodgers, and it will be a tough game. But I think as a game, obviously, it's a bit far-fetched. We've got to look obviously forward. But obviously, regarding the Scottish Cup, I think it's a competition that I think we'll obviously go and try and win and try and get me a silverware. But again, lads, thanks for your chat tonight. Again, we're back on tomorrow, obviously covering the game against Hearts for Wednesday. But again, lads, take care. Hail, hail, and cheers.
Hail, hail. Cheers, lads. Thanks.